focus firing on it, take it down. He'll probably lose his hero and his footmen to my army because they'll be either stunned or dead from falling in a tree. And I'll be set, and that'll take care of his first game harassment. As for the second game harassment, you'll notice that I started constructing the Chamara roost at the bottom of the map. I mean, the bottom part of my base. The reason I do this is for two reasons. Number one, this Chamara roost is extremely important to me, so I need to keep that alive. So if he was managed to get some mortars into my base, and he was to blow that up, I have no units to counter his mortars. Second of all, that also acts as a pretty good scouting building over that hill to notify if anything's coming up that hill. I have wisps on the outer side of my base. I usually keep wisps hidden around the map. They're good scouting tools. So now I'm just taking revenge on those creeps at the top up there. Trying to clear out that gold mine so I can go ahead and expand. I have a surplus of gold. That's okay. I'm saving that up for Chamara and an expansion. As for my opponent, AKM, if you will notice, he has an army of 2 casting heroes. Archmage makes the second good hero. He has 2 spellbreakers, rifles, and casters. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why is he doing that? Well, obviously, that's an anti-bear tech strategy. Spellbreakers taking any buffs from the bears, any roar, any rejuvenation. The rifles are used to focus fire first on the dryads, then onto the bears themselves. And the 2 heroes, I guess, at this point, would be used for AoE, but you do notice that AKM does actually go for the banish. I call him AKM for the simplicity reasons, by the way. I think I did mention that before. Spellbreakers do indeed make a good frontline unit versus bears, not generally versus mountain giant, because they do have some nice armor, even though it's normal. So he's going ahead and clear out that top-bottom expansion. He's going to throw up an expansion in an odd area. That is good, because as you see, I threw mine up in an odd area too. Even though it's a little slower than a natural expansion, you know, not having to worry about your expansion being under attack is a lot better than that quicker gold, because that way your enemy just can't rush in, bash down your expansion before you could benefit from any of the gold intake. And plus, that also makes your opponent think that you are not expanding, therefore you have a smaller army when you show up with a bigger army, and you can win. So, me, I'm level 4, level 2 evasion, level 2 mana burn. I noticed that the smaller creeps are taken out there, so I'm just going to go ahead and do something quite daring, which is go ahead and run in and attack this main Fountain of Health creep. Now you're thinking, okay, that's pretty damn insane. The main thing I'm trying to do is I want to take out those 2 level 5 creeps. I want both their items, and I'm going to try and run out as soon as possible. But be as it may, I do lose a lot of archers in the process, which is, you know, not too good, because I lose the gold. But then again, I do have the expansion. On the other hand, I'm not going to really need these archers later in the game anyways, especially versus mortars. So I'm not too worried about it at this point. As for my opponent, level 3 Bloodmage, almost level 4, level 3 Archmage. He has the hero advantage, even though I'm almost level 5. He does have 2 higher level heroes. It's a better way to go. So I leave the Wand of Mana Stealing behind. Reason I did that is because I didn't want to risk leaving one of my other items down, so I can go ahead and pick that up and sell it. And plus my Demon Hunter's a little low on health. I just wanted to run out of the way. You will do notice that AKM is creeping out those Ogre Magi, Ogre Warlord, whatever. And as for myself, I'm just massing up a bunch of air units, expecting that expecting that mortar rush pretty soon. And as for the mortar rush, a good counter for that strategy is, of course, to get the Huntress and the Owl Scout ability. Getting an Owl Scout inside your base allows you to see him walking up that ramp, so you can therefore teleport in and take out those mortars before they can take out your tree. Second of all, it's just a good notification. You need to be able to teleport in before you actually focus fires on your tree. There's no way you can actually use a teleport scroll before the tree gets fired on. And at this point he does scan me, so the jig is up, so I'm busted. He sees I have a bunch of Chamara in my base, a bunch of anti-air, you know, and he sees the archers, of course. So at this point, I was thinking, you will notice in a minute that he does kill my wisp right here. All I see is 2 AoE heroes. So I'm thinking, okay, he for sure has those mortars. I mean, who goes 2 AoE heroes? I haven't actually seen what he uses. Now his army's a little too far back from my vision, if you have it under my vision. I'm thinking at this point, okay, he's going to try and run. I'm going to try and run over there and catch him and probably take out as many of his units as possible. I had no idea he had a bunch of breakers, rifles, and casters. I mean, I would have been in some bad trouble if I would have engaged him at this moment. But I do notice that he is gone, so I expected him to run. So I think I'm going to go down to the item shop and try and sell this mana stealing rod, and try maybe to buy like a healing scroll or something like that, and just go ahead and try and take out his expansion. I expect him to be expanding in his normal, natural expansion at this point. And at this point, I do see his army attacking my expansion. And I think to myself, I wonder if I should just let it go or just engage him. And I say, what the hell? I throw on the vitality boosting item. Just go ahead and detonate everything he has. Throw a mana burn off on the Archmage. Make sure he can't summon a water elemental. Therefore, I focus fire down on his rifles. He focuses down on my Demon Hunter. I drop a healing ward. He uses Banish on 2 of my Tremara. Incredible. Banish is a way underestimated skill, in my opinion. Extremely powerful, especially versus the bear strategy. If you can take a bear out of the battle, I mean, that's a big unit. Especially bears take extra damage from, would be taking extra damage with the Banish on top of them from any magic. So I expect at this point, I'm thinking, crap. This guy has, like, breakers, rifle, casters, and here I am with a bunch of air and some useless archers. I'm gonna get destroyed. This guy is probably running back. He's probably getting ready to counterattack me at this point. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to throw up some lures like right now. ASA freaking P. And at this point I'm thinking, okay, he probably has an expansion. I probably have the advantage because I expanded fairly quickly. I'm wondering at this point what I should be doing. At this point, I stop all production on any air units because I expect him to be countering with any anti-air pretty soon. That's my opinion, which is smart. That's what he's doing. He's building a Griffin aviary at this moment. I fill my gold mine back up. I'm not too worried about that. I go ahead and put up another one. Now here's something you should always do. At every opportunity, always try and put up an expansion. Mostly when you have the advantage, that's the best thing to do. Or when you know your opponent isn't necessarily going to attack you right away. That's the best thing to do. Or when you think your opponent doesn't expect you to put up an expansion. So I have about 67 food. I'm pretty confident that, if I was at my own base, I'd probably be able to hold off an attack. But I go ahead and buy a town portal scroll just in case. I also bought an invulnerability potion just in case he banishes my Demon Hunter again. Then again, I can take him out of the banish and put him back into the front line. He basically is acting as my only front line unit at the moment. So I do climb the hill. Do notice he has an expansion here, so I'm like, alright, cha-ching. I'm just going to go ahead and take down as many of these peasants as possible. I'm pretty sure he's going to teleport in at any moment, so I'm going to take these out and teleport out. If I was to take out these peasants, it'd be in my benefit, even though I had to use a teleport scroll. And I noticed that he is not teleporting in, so I'm thinking, okay, the guy's pretty close. I'm just going to keep focusing down on this town hall until he does arrive. I do notice that he is here, so the first thing I see is his heroes. I'm thinking, okay, time for me to get out. He does have anti-air, so I note that to myself. He does focus down on one archer, but I get out in time. Go back, as Panda would say, lick my wounds. My moon wells are looking pretty good right now. One thing that every night elf should do, I strongly recommend always upgrading the Moonwell ability at tier 3. I mean, you never know. I mean, it saved me games many times. And right now I'm just gonna go ahead and buy another scroll of town portal. Continue production on some mountain giants right now. Mountain giants is the unit of choice. I notice that all he has is breakers, rifles, and casters. Mountain giants are the most effective unit versus combination. Reason why the bear strategy isn't as effective as it used to is because a while ago people did not expect the bear strategy. Probably a month or so ago, most people using Night Elf would mass up mountain giants and rifles. So what would the human player do? Get the inner fire with a few rifles and knights. Knights, of course, rip apart mountain giants, even at tier 3 with a bunch of upgrades with their inner fire. and our rifles